Alright, this is a brief comparison of 4 golden era R13s. This first one is a 1960. It has the matte keywork. This is when I played quite a few concerts in the last few years. I'm going to play this on a new Charles Fedele original facing that I just got, and then I'm also going to play it on an Henri Fedele. I'm going to try all 4 of these on 2 mouthpieces. That's the opening of the Mayakovsky. Russell Harlow has a great video on that, of the great Ralph McLean playing it. This is an Henri Fedele, and it was refaced under the guidance of Donald Montanaro of the Curtis School. So they're both really great mouthpieces. And I'm playing all these horns with the original barrel to make it interesting. Some people would disagree, they should say. I should play all these with a Menig. Alright, this next one is a couple years later. This is a 73,000. And this has plated keys. Looks like a new clarinet. Actually, this is the lightest one. So what they did is, these older clarinets, till about 64, 63, 64, had thinner bodies, thinner walls, and they had, like the last one, this matte finish, solid German silver keywork. And then they switched to nickel-plated, and for about 1,000 horns, they had very thin bodies and this thinner type of plating, lighter keywork. So this one is really, really light. It gets a really, really pingy sound. This is, again, I'm doing with the Charles Fedele and the Montanaro. I should add that all of these have different overhauls. This one is on Valentino master pads. The last one was on cork pad uppers and skin lowers. And I'm not 100% happy with the overhaul on any of these. But this gives you an idea of the voice that each of them has. Here's the Montanaro. So I think this is where you hear some of the difference, at least with the masters. This one isn't focusing right now on this mouthpiece like it did with the last one. I do like these 73, 74,000s. I had a B-flat one that was really nice, but there is a depth that's not quite there with the other ones. I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's just it's a different kind of resistance than what we're used to. All right, now this next one really is not in working condition at all, but I really like it. This is an 82,000, 1964, 65. So you see those pads aren't working at all. And yet, what an amazing voice, what an amazing intensity it has. For an A clarinet, really need to get this one overhauled. You heard how out of tune that A was. And yet, it's so pleasing to listen to. It has a lot of the lightness of the 73,000, but there's a lot more bottom, and the focus is more apparent because there's that balance of bright and dark. Again, this is on mostly original pads from 1965, just crazy. Considering that those third tones don't, literally, they aren't even sealing, the pad is ripped all the way, but the response on it is just, it's just incredible. It doesn't really feel like an A clarinet. Last one is the heaviest one. This is a 102,000, and this one is super mint like the 73,000. Just really not a lot of, I mean, the original gold is in the logo. It looks like a brand new horn. This one is quite a bit heavier, and the bore feels more open. So there's some of that stuffiness, some of that airiness that we kind of expect from a modern R13. I think they finally got the design right around 1968, 1969. And, you know, throughout the 100,000, the design doesn't change all that much in B flats or in A's. Whereas you see a lot of design change, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, 90,000, and even early 100,000. But then they finally got the design. This one sounds really great in a hall, but it is harder to play than these other horns, and there is more evenness for sure. It's less quirky in a way, but this one definitely, I think of all of these, would benefit most from a Menig taper to make it feel a little more easy. For the most part, you hear, especially with that mouthpiece, the tuning is just spot on. And this is the one I played at a lot of gigs in the last year since I've had this horn. You know. And this one is on all skin pads, and they're not really sealing all that well, but they're a lot better than the last one. So sometimes you'll hear a little bit of that, but. It really seals, or at least it has the appearance of sealing from a distance. It really has that professional vibe to it. So all these have a much better voice, in my opinion, than a modern buffet. And even this one is a lot easier to play than a modern buffet, in my opinion. It tunes also really well. Better if you have the right mouthpiece, but that takes some time to find the right mouthpiece to tune with it. And that's why people, I think, don't look at vintage horns. That, and they're hard to find in good shape that aren't blown out. So I hope this gives you a good idea on different years. Having played B flats of the same years of these A's and around, I'll say that the personality is remarkably consistent for what you hear here. Um, and as you hear with these two mouthpieces, one might really work with a horn, and one might not, and they're both early artistic facing shed bells with really good facing. So, you know, finding the right horn for you is a challenge, and I would really recommend, you know, a long search, because you can't trust what you hear at a convention hall. You know, I mean, that's fine. That's where you get to try a bunch of horns, but you don't really get to know a horn there. And you know, some players will either spend their whole lives to try to find a grade A, or they'll just put up with it and think they have to put up with it. But you can have an A clarinet that responds in a way better than your best B flat. And I will say right now that I like my best A and my best E flat in a way more than my best B flat. So happy searching.